One of the biggest crimes you could make in storytelling, theater, in any regard, is to tell the audience what they already know. Right? We can agree with that, right? This is not the first time you've heard that. You don't tell the audience what they already know. You don't treat the audience like they are less than you. You don't fool with the audience's intelligence. And I think that The Last of Us, when it comes down to part 3, I truly do believe that the developers are in a place now where they have to realize that we have just been mentally strained out when it comes to this Abby versus Ellie fight. And I believe that in order for Naughty Dog to keep the high rise with this Abby versus Ellie dynamic, that one of the biggest crimes they can commit in this next game would be to reintroduce a conflict that we know is dead in the water. Can we be mature enough and admit that we understand that the Abby versus Ellie beef, conflict, fight, treachery is done with? It's dead. We do not need to see this anymore. What we need to see and what would elevate this story as to a higher point and give the audience the respect they deserve, let's talk about a couple of possibilities. Abby versus Ellie. Abby and Ellie in this third game. Abby comes in to a new resolution with Ellie. Okay, let's say Ellie realizes that her only way of getting out of this complex of emotion that she's in is to realize that she needs to come to a point where she has to sacrifice herself. She has to sacrifice herself and give the world what they were supposed to be given in this respect of a cure, right? Where does Abby come into play to that? Let's say the Naughty Dog developers give Abby a new storyline where Abby and Ellie come to terms that they need to heal, and part of doing that is giving the audience the biggest upset, which is Abby and Ellie not only come together and join forces together in an alliance, they do this by journeying together, getting a relationship in the sense of a partnership. Let's say Abby has a new connection in her storyline when it comes down to a doctor. They introduce a doctor who can perform the procedure that Ellie was supposed to go through, right? Abby and Ellie get together, they travel, and they go and fight the forces that be that are going to prohibit them to getting to this doctor who's going to be able to perform this procedure and therefore save the world with Ellie's sacrifice. How can we make this even more messier? Well, we can get rid of certain characters. We can get rid of Lev. We can break hearts, get rid of Lev. We can maybe introduce a dynamic in there where Tommy gets in the way of the alliance that we can say might happen in the third game of Abby and Ellie, right? Abby and Ellie, Tommy gets wind that, gets a wind of location for Abby and Ellie, right? We're introduced now to another crossroads with Tommy. Tommy now is bent on killing and finishing the job that is bringing Abby to justice in his eyes. Okay, what happens? Ellie gets in the way of that. Ellie's like, no, we're not doing this anymore, and I'm not going to let you kill Abby. So now we have a bunch of different conflict that can be reintroduced, that can be introduced from a fresh perspective and give Naughty Dog inch them towards that 100% on the Gamer Rotten Tomatoes scale. It's doable. It is definitely doable. I'm going to need you guys to let me know in the comments what you think. Is this a possibility? Do we have a hidden alliance that's going to come to the forefront with Abby and Ellie and Lev?